So the good news is, I hit my head again. I already made this video. The bad news is the video had no audio. So we're making it again, which is okay. That's because I got to do this project again anyway because I didn't like the way it came out. Sorry, the way it came out. So I'm gonna do it again anyway. So the deal here is we're working on the throttle assembly for said tractor. The governor is no longer. The governor used to be here where this bolt is. I don't know if you can see it. It's governor delete. So therefore there's no linkage to go to the carburetor. I have to make my own. And I could run a cable from here. I'm going to run a foot pedal instead of a throttle handle on the steering wheel like a lot of the FXT tractors do. They use the on the steering wheel because you're concentrating on the steering and hanging on. You're not worried about the foot. This is my first one, so I think I want a foot pedal, so we'll see how it works. But I don't want to run a cable right from the pedal to the engine. Particularly, I want a nice heavy spring on it, a return spring, and I want the spring on the pedal, and I also want it right in this area, okay? I want to make sure if something goes wrong that I got a spring here to shut her down back to idle, and I got a spring on the pedal. Therefore, to run a cable from here to there, you can already see I'm pulling in the upward direction. That's not going to make sense. So I have a typical Kohler rod here. Okay, we're gonna use part of this. We're gonna make it work. But I've also come up with an idea. I'm gonna take this bracket. Sorry, I'm one-handed here. Take this bracket. I'm gonna mount it down here somewhere. I'm gonna make some weldments to where this bracket plate is sitting in here somehow. This bracket's key. This part also right here is key. All right, this is just a round circle. That's all it is. And I figure if we grab my attachment, I figure if you say the carburetor's up top, I can put this cable in this area, and I am going to go ahead and I'm going to make this fit to this tab, not this hole. I'm not using this tab. I don't want to push it up, okay? I want to pull it down to open. So if I want to pull it down to open, I'm going to be using this part right here, this tab, not this hole. So that's just what I choose to do. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll eventually know if I'm wrong or not. But on the other end of the spectrum, we're going to have this here, and then we're going to have a cable come in from the foot pedal on the bottom. So when the foot pedal is pushed, it's going to turn this clockwise, right? Sorry about my nasty looking thumb. If I turn this clockwise, it's going to take this linkage and pull it down. With that being said, technically it should open the throttle. Pulling it down should open my throttle because I'm going to be on this tab right here. All right. There's a lot of people on a lot of forums. I'm on a lot of forums on Facebook and other places, and guys are like, how do you hook the throttle up? I don't know either. Well, I know how they do it. And yes, I could go to EC carburetors and probably just buy a whole setup and bolt it on, but that's not what this channel is about. This is about making it work, home built, redneck science, not Weston Champlin. I know that's already taken. I'm just saying. It's backwoods boys fabrication. How's that? That's even better. So, low budget build. That's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do here. So, we got some stuff we're going to do. Let's get after it. So, right off the bat, the first thing we want to do is we want to make our hole is the correct size for the bolt we're using for the wheel and for the bracket. My choice of size is 21/64. We're going to bore that out a little bit because she was a little sticky from last night when I first tried this video with no audio. That was great. We're going to open that one up a little bit too. Now, the reason it's so big is I could take a 1/4 20 bolt, right, like this, and I could put it through there, and I can put washers on it, and you know, whatever. I want this wheel to spin freely. I don't want any binding. I want to be able to. I got me a collared bolt, and if you look at that bolt, you're going to be like, well, you got to buy that. Where do you buy that special? This is not a special bolt. This is a valve cover bolt from a Kohler motor. Okay, this actually holds the. It gives me a lot of collar to put nylon washers behind here as spacers, and plus my wheel, because I want my wheel to have a little space behind it, because I'm going to have linkages going through this thing, whether they're through the front space here for my cable and for this linkage. So what I did, I save a lot of hardware, guys. I always have. I feel it's key to have blinds, or you get a set of whatever, or some appliance that you're putting in your house. You see them special things. You might get yelled at for having them and collecting them, but someday you're going to use where I got them from, because I don't remember. I'm going to put 4 of them on here. Then we're going to put the wheel on. Alright. That leaves me a little bit there. I got loose. So let me take my 4 washers off again. It's all trial and error here at this point. Matter of fact, I figure it's never going to be. As close to perfect as we can get. So I put a washer on there first, stainless steel washer. Then I went with that. I should go ahead and be able to find a smaller washer that won't go over that collar. And I think it's going to be this guy right here. Now we're going to go ahead and throw our nut on. And I should be able to tighten that nut down. And you can see I have 2 crescent wrenches. You think I got a whole toolbox of tools, guys, and I'm using crescent wrenches. That's just the way. Alright, so now everything's tight. It's got a little play in it. I might need to put another washer back there, but you can see how free that is. See how free that spins? That's what we want. We want free spinning. Now, I'm going to have a little deflection because, after all, I do have nylon washers back there. I could probably... It's all trial and error, guys. It's not something that's perfect. Okay, nothing here is perfect. That's why we do these things. You can see on the back side we have plenty of space between S-curves of the linkage, because you know, once I drill a hole through here, this is going to go through and it's going to sit like that. So you want some room back there. It's going to be, how are we going to mount this on the engine? Well, we're going to have a look-see at that, and we're going to figure that out right now. Alright, I'm sure there's a few of you screaming at the TV right now, or whatever you're watching it on. This front end assembly is not permanent. This is also, there's more work to do here, so don't get excited about that. So this is pretty much where we want to mount this, in here somewhere. So therefore I can go to my throttle linkage over here, which my hand is in the way so you can't really see it, but I think you get the point. We want to go from here to there. Alright, and we're going to be pulling down, because when the cable from the pedal on the bottom side of the wheel pulls that way, it's going to roll the wheel, and then it's going to open the throttle. Therefore, I also can find a place on here somewhere to put a hole, and by putting a hole, I can also put another return spring on here Guys, I don't want this engine wide open because there's no governor. So I want to make sure this thing is pulled back to idle all the time. It's probably going to be a heavy spring. Thought was go to this bolt right here, which is where the governor used to be. So I could put a hole in this plate and go there, which still I might do, but threaded rod in there and use a nut and bolt it tight to that. But I also got to make sure my alignment is straight from my linkage to my wheel. Also, no matter what I do, I'm going to have to figure out something to hold this side. Whether I have to take this bolt out down here and I have to weld a piece of steel from here with an L in a hole to bolt there. But there's a lot of stuff we got to do here. We just can't throw this on. I could throw it on, but I don't want this moving like this, and I don't want it vibrating loose. So this is kind of an important deal, part of the situation. I do not want to put any holes in here and have my bracket permanently mounted. So I have a lot of ideas, but because I have a lot of ideas, I don't know or not. So I have to go through very carefully and process each idea and figure out what's going to work the best. This is the real deal. Straight shooter. This isn't Dream World. This isn't Hot Rod TV. All right. So we're going to do some thinking. We're going to sit here and do this. Might even have a sandwich in a can. That helps you think sometimes. And once we come up with an idea, we can get building. But you're going to see me fumble around and think for a minute. I might be quiet while I'm doing it. But hang on there. Hang in there, and we'll figure something out eventually, all right? I'm pretty certain we're going to do that governor bolt situation. Let's try that first. I mean, if it doesn't work, we can always try our other ideas next. So let's go ahead and drill a hole in the corner of this, all right? So I need a hole this size. I'm going to say that's, yeah, 3/8-ish. So let's get our drill bits, which are over here. My Bauer drill bits from Harbor Freight. Nothing fancy in there. Off some decent tools. Now I figure this is decent tools. It'll get the job done. Ain't gotta be snap-on. They'll kill you. I'm gonna start with a pilot bit. Low speed. Don't get that bit hot. You'll smoke it. There's our pilot hole. This is going to be really close to the edge of this bracket, but I think it's going to be all right. This is a 23/64. This is one size bigger than a 3/8. Nice and slow and easy, not a lot of pressure. Got a little smoke there, so we're going to back off for a minute. I could put some lube on it, but yeah, why not? It's fine. I looked at a good set the other day, and it was like $700 for, there was a lot of pieces, but I'm like, man, I'm just going to burn them up. 23/64 was not big enough. Oh, you know what? That was smaller than a 3/8, so I'm going backwards. All right, this is the 3/8. How does that work? Ah, it works perfect, dummy. You should have tried that the first time. No, it's a little tight. Let's ream her around a little bit. Clean her up. Put the drill bit back or you'll lose it. Let's dust her off a little bit with our grinder, our flap wheel. Get all our burrs off there. Now we can see how our bolt fits. Fits pretty good. I don't like the way this really doesn't lay down on it. Why is that? The bolt? Yeah, there might be a little silicone on that. Let's clean that up. We want it flush because this is a great place for an oil leak, because oil wants to come out that hole when this engine's running, and I don't need that. Next time, I will be putting silicone on this bolt because obviously it internal part of the engine comes out to the outside of it, so you definitely don't want metal shavings in a hole. I was going to go with a longer bolt, but I just mocked this up and I felt it, and it feels like it holds pretty good. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this on the machine. Then I'm going to figure out what I have to do to go from here to another bolt on the engine like we were talking about earlier, because I do believe. Let's see what we got to do to get that done. Come on down here so you can see. And it's not easy one guy filming, guys. There's a lot of work and a lot of practice to get it right. Alright, so I got a good 1/4 inch behind that where it starts to thread, so I'm going to have some good threads invested here, because I don't want to pull any threads out. Then I'll be pulling the block apart again. We're not using impact. There's a lot of impact guys nowadays out there. I'll tell you, impacts are handy and they're nice, but they're not made for everything. All right, that's pretty snug. So there we go. There it is. Does a little spinning action. Looks pretty level. Probably could go up a touch. I'd have to loosen it up to do that. Get it up a little bit tighter. All right, let's just snug it. All right, so you know what? I think it is a great idea. If I can come off this bolt right here, which is pretty long, I got to take this out. I hopefully don't get a lot of oil out of this. And I'm going to go from this hole here up to the bottom of this bracket. So that means I'm going to take this wheel off so I have better access to what's going on. So put it on, take it off, guys. That's the way this game is played. All part of fabrication and mock-up. And out in the shop right now, where we're at, it's pretty cold. And my fingers are pretty cold too. Let's put this in here. Grab our crescent wrenches, because you know, crescent wrench TV. I'd get the right sizes, but that'd be boring. That's nice and tight. We are going to Loctite all these on the final assembly, but before the final assembly, Gotta make sure it's right first. Hell, I might even put a tack weld on it. So, our wheel is off. We're going to bolt this back on. We just need it snug and kind of level. I know it seems crazy because I could just put this on a cable, one cable, but for some reason something's telling me to make a nice assembly here, and I don't know what it is that's telling me that, but something's telling me. Alright, so we're gonna have to go ahead and work this 10mm out. Then we're gonna have to do some measuring, and we're gonna have to do some welding, all kinds of stuff. Let me work on getting this bolt out, and then we'll see what happens. So as we figure this out, we are going to make a bracket off that 10mm bolt on the crankcase up to the bracket where I'm going to have to weld it to that bracket. I went ahead and I found myself a piece of cutoff of 1.5 by 1.5 tubing. This is what we're going to use to make said bracket. So like I say, guys, this is a low budget build. Low budget. I got the money. I can buy the parts. I can buy everything I need to build this. But I know there's tractor builders out there that don't have the money. Honestly, I don't either, but I could if I wanted to. But you know what? It's more fun when you try and figure it out by building with what you got. I have this is scrap. Look at it, it's rusty. This side's like blown out from the plasma cutter. But we only need part of it. We need this long part to go up to the bracket that's already there. We need to put a hole in the bottom for our 10mm bolt, which is right here. Okay, so we're going to be working with house, but we can do it. So, let's get after it. Going to make a little mark on this in here. I kind of want to make some kind of mark to know where to put my hole. It's all guesstimation at this point. Guesstimation is the best kind of fabrication. Guesstimation. Guesstimation fabrication. Alright, so that's the case mark right there. The case mark, it's kind of off a little bit. There's probably a 1/4 inch wall. It's all guessing at this point. Anybody can buy parts made to build something racy, okay? But it takes build it from scrap. And when you're done, it's not scrap if you do it right. If you take your time, you paint the parts. You can speed that up. Paint the parts, make them look nice, polish them up. It's And at the end of the day, it's more satisfying because you made it. You built it. And not only did you build it, but you sat and you thought about it. Most of the battle is thinking it out. It's good for your brain. It's good for your mind. It makes you feel accomplished. Like I said, now, all the parts I need to do this, it's not the same in the end. And also, there's not going to be another setup like this one because I made it. I thought about it. And I did it. Drill as many times as you want. Change the drill bits as many times as you need. It's better to drill 3 times than 1 time wrong. Learned that from my dad. Because boy, I did a lot of All right, we got some action there. We got a piece. Let's go over here and just see if it goes into the engine and the bracket that I made. Yeah, the hole might need to be drilled a little more. She's kind of tight. No, I don't know. We can work it in there. We can work that out. I like it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I like it. It fits. This right here, this where this bolt is. That's all guesstimation. As I trace the case of the engine, I'm gonna ream this out a little bit more. I'm going to put it in a vise to do it because I've done it holding in my... Sometimes it doesn't end well. Put our drill bit back so we don't lose it because that's just what I do. Lose it. I will lose it. We'll polish this up a little. And as you can see, I polished it up with a cutoff wheel, but we're in a hurry here. We're making a video. We can't waste time changing grinder wheels and flat discs and cutoff wheels, and we can't waste no time with that. Grind a little rust off there. We're going to put this in place. We're going to bolt it down. I'm going to tack it on the engine. I might weld the whole thing on the engine, but I'm going to weld it in place because that's going to be the easiest and simplest way to make sure that it works. Well, we're also going to make sure that the gas line is plugged off, which it's not right now. So safety first, guys. And if you're down grinding, you can see I have a wood bench because I, at one point, was doing woodwork full-time, well, part-time after my full-time job. I've since moved that to the other side of this area. So now this is the mechanic side, the wood shop's over there, but this is a wood bench. I got a lot of stuff around here, so when you are cutting in the vise, like you see me with the cutoff wheel, you've seen the sparks flying that way. I try and get them to fly this way. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but you want to make sure if you're throwing sparks around, even the littlest sparks from a cutoff wheel, make sure you hang around for 30 to 45 minutes afterwards just to make sure nothing's going to spark up, okay? You'd hate to do all this work and all this fabrication and have your shop or your place burned down. Not cool. So it's always good to do the spark watch. Spark watch is very important. So we're going to run over here. You can come with me. This guy right here is going to look at my face, so one of them robot cameras. He likes to look at me and not what we're doing. But I can turn them off and fix them. There we go. Now we're looking at the work. Take these damn safety glasses off. I can't see shit. I mean, I can't see nothing. Put our linkage in here. Kind of like this and that. The other thing. I have to tighten this 10mm up. Make sure it's tight before we do any welding, because I'm going to have to take this off to put the wheel on. Might have to do some bending and alignment and things with stuff. Now it's just going to fall into place. It'd probably help if I could feel my fingers, but currently it's March 2nd. It's still getting down to 10 degrees here in New York. I think we're warm right now. I think we're 20 now, but last night we were 10. Pretty much over it. I do like the snow. I like snowmobiling. But there comes a point in time when I've had enough. And I'm right about there now. So I can get you guys in a little closer. You can see where the tab is right here. Okay, it's still loose. It's not tight. Let me drop that wrench 3 times because I can't feel my fingers like I just said. Alright, so that right there. Now, we're kind of far away from this plate here, so we're going to have to do some manipulation. I'm going to have to get some pliers, put it in here, and I'm going to have to twist it that way, and then I'm going to want to twist the top out. This is going to be one of them fancy looking devices. Bear with me while I get the tools, the correct tools. Where are my needle nose? No, they disappeared. Needle nose said, you know what, we're done here. We're not gonna, we don't want to hang out anymore, so they disappeared. I'm gonna bend the top out first. Like so, I think. Okay. And I'm going to push it back in, kind of like that. Now I'm going to get my needle nose vice grips, because I know they're here. I've seen them. Here they are. I'm just going to clamp this down, hopefully, somehow. Maybe. Possibly. Please. That's pretty dang close right there. I don't know. We gotta get a better grip on that. It's not exactly what we were dreaming. And the engine block's right there, so I can't get to that area. Might be my only hope over here. I just want to squeeze it together. Come on, get in there. Do something. Nope. Well, it looks like this is going to be a push and tack situation where I push it in and tack it. So I think that's what we're going to do. Let me plug off this fuel line up here. This guy, and we got a little carburetor blah 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 right there. It's got some gas in it. I don't like that. I hate tacking around gas and fuel. It's never good. And I can plug the hose back in. And just give her a good zap. What do you guys think? Think it'll work? Well, you know, you don't know till you try, huh? Hang on. So with the risk of having a little flame up, we're just going to tack this thing, and then we're going to take it over to the other side and we're going to put a good weld to it. Just gotta give it a nice tack. That'll hold it. That's all it takes. We'll get it over in the vise and give it a good weld. So here we go, guys. Here's bracketry 101. This is the bracket. This is going to be the piece that holds our. End this video here tonight. It's getting late. I got that tab welded on there. That's going to be enough to support it, so it doesn't want to do this number here. Get you some. If you don't have a welder, figure out here, this little guy, this little piece of garbage looking thing, $170 on Amazon. It's enough to do this. It's enough to do everything I've done on this machine. Doesn't matter. This machine gets it done right up to 3/8 of an inch. All right. Just dream it up and you can build it. But you can't build it sitting around. You can build it from scrap metal. You can build it from new metal. You can't build it just sitting and wishing. And it doesn't take a ton of money to get it done. So we get back at the linkage. I get the rest of it put together and see if it works. But I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you sticking around for the whole video. Please like, please subscribe, please tell your friends there's a crazy guy and you might be learning something. See you later.